Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 11-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings. Before we get into it, I have released an NBA DFS package over on Patreon where you can get access to my premium NBA projections, my NBA data sheet, player stats, team stats, play context stats, core plays, injury impact insights, NBA Discord chat access, all of these fun tools to help you with your NBA DFS lineups. I've tried to make it affordable. I've been playing daily fantasy sports since 2016. I'm aware of what these other sites have to offer. I've been a member of them in the past. So I've put together a package that's more affordable instead of getting charged that $40 a month by these big sites. You know, it's $9.99 a month. And it's built with a lot of tools that are going to help you to make better NBA DFS lineups. Quick little review of what I went with last night. We got the late news that Paul George was going to be out. Completely flipped the slate. Pretty irritating, honestly. I tried my best to adjust. I already had a lineup with Juancho Hernan-Gomez locked in. I tried to pivot off some Nikola Jokic to some Kawhi Leonard. I really tried to fit both of them in a lineup, but it just wasn't happening. So these are the two lineups I ended up with. I threw in a Luke Kennard. I threw in Nicholas Batum, who had a big game at 40, Damian Lillard, Kawhi Leonard, and Lou Williams. And then over here, I had Juancho Hernan-Gomez, who I was high on in the video yesterday. I mentioned I don't think a lot of people are going to recognize. He was only 8% owned in the big $15 tournament on DraftKings. And then Nikola Jokic. I wasn't able to fit Nikola Jokic and Kawhi Leonard in the same lineup after that news with something I felt comfortable with. You know, Patrick Beverley had a big game, so unfortunately I probably could have threw him in there. I took a look at some other options, but unfortunately I didn't go with Patrick Beverley. But I tried to late swap off, didn't end up paying off, so that's what I went with last night. The Paul George news, late news, was really irritating. But anyways, let's move on to tonight's slate tonight. And we got an 11-gamer, so let's get through this thing. Houston at Indiana. At the top, we got James Harden at 11K. 222.5 over-under, and a 2-point spread in favor of the Indiana Pacers. So not exactly, the fastest-paced game in the world as far as who we're looking to target in this one. James Harden at the top at 11K. Whether John Wall is really digging into his usage, I would say he is. I mean, we haven't seen this guy top over really much more than 50 DraftKings points, and I tend to think he probably won't in this one in a slower-paced game. So it's kind of tough targeting him. On the Indiana side of the ball, I'd be more interested in targeting some of these guys, but they're starting to get priced up. Malcolm Brogdon's been absolutely performing night in and night out, but he's up to 8K, so he's been getting you mid-50s in DraftKings points, but he's going to kind of have to get you there at this point with that 8K price tag. Can he? Sure. But you're paying 8K for a guy that you were paying down more towards 7K. Christian Wood at 7.7 continues to be interesting. They're not really playing DeMarcus Cousins a ton of minutes, so Christian Wood at 7.7 makes some sense. Just not exactly the most up-tempo game as discussed, with the over-under. So I have a feeling we're going to have a lot more interest in some other spots as we go along here. Victor Oladipo at 7K would be my top play in this game, just based on price tag at 7K. He put up 45 DraftKings points last time out. At only 7K, I do think there's a ton of room for upside. He's capable of putting up 50, similar to Malcolm Brogdon, or $1,000 cheaper price tag. So that's what I'd be looking to. John Wall at 7.4 continues to be underpriced as well. Same kind of thing as Victor Oladipo. This guy's got 50-point upside. He only put up 24 last time out. A little bit of a dud compared to the 45 and the 50 before. But at his price tag, plenty of room for upside. And those are the guys I'd be looking to in this game. Not really looking to go to anyone on the cheap. No, nothing really sticks out there. I mean, with a TJ Warren out, you are seeing some more minutes for a guy like a Doug McDermott. So maybe Dougie McBuckets, but that's it, and that's kind of a stretch. I mean, he put up 16 DraftKings points last time out, making 3 out of 7 3-pointers. So at 4.4, if he was a little cheaper, I'd have some more interest. Cleveland at Orlando at the top. This game comes in right now. 8.7 Nikola Vucevic. We got an over-under. The over-under is not released, but we do have a spread of 6 points in favor of the Orlando Magic. I would anticipate this over-under to be very low total. Not going to be the most up-tempo game, and to be honest with you, I don't know really if there's anywhere to go. There's going to be no Darius Garland, and there's no Kevin Love, no Michael Carter Williams. So based on injury news, there could be some places to go. Evan Fournier is questionable, and we'll have to keep an eye on whether he's going to be back. So With no Darius Garland, it obviously gives a bump to Colin Sexton at 7-2, so he could be a guy that you could have interest in. Last time out, he's been playing a lot of minutes. He's been playing around 40 minutes a game, 39 minutes last time out, only put up 29 DraftKings points. But he's been putting up consistently around 40 DraftKings points with room for more upside, so he'd be a guy that I am looking to. It makes a lot of sense with no Darius Garland. Terrence Ross at 5'9", next guy I want to be looking to on the Orlando side. He's been absolutely killing it. Only problem is he's priced at the 5'9" now compared to, he was priced down at 5K or so. But if there's no Evan Fournier, I'm going to continue to have interest in him. If Evan Fournier comes back with Terrence Ross being priced up to 5'9", I'm probably not going there. Larry Nance Jr. continues to be an interesting option at 6'9" with no Kevin Love. Only put up 16 DraftKings points last time out, but we saw him put up 32, 37 the times before. The only problem is he's 6'9", he was around 6'3". Same thing with kind of all of these guys. They're great options as far as, their usage opening up and stuff, but they have to get you there because their price tags have been adjusted for their roles. Aaron Gordon is a guy that maybe his price tag hasn't been adjusted because he was on a minutes limit for a while. They are only playing around 20 minutes. He's put up 33 and 44 DraftKings points the last 2 times out. And while he is 6'4" now as compared to, 5'9", his price tag is definitely going to climb up towards 7,000. It's definitely going to climb up towards 7,000. So I would be, looking there while you can. No Michael Carter Williams means there's going to be more of a bump up to. Oh, also Damian Dotson on the Cleveland side is going to be an interesting value option because there's no longer any Dante Exum and there's no Darius Garland. So he's an interesting option at 4-2. Don't want to skip over him. So he would make some sense. He's got some capability of shooting the 3 ball, but Isaac Okoro will be back. So it's kind of a catch-22 because Okoro was out of the lineup. But with Dante Exum out, I would still expect him to get more minutes. And then Dwayne Bacon on the Orlando side, the last guy that I will mention. If there's no Evan Fournier, expect him to play in the mid-20s. And he's 3'5", so he could definitely get you there. He hasn't quite had that big upside game yet, but I mean, at only 3'5", he can get there pretty easily. If he just goes out there and performs for one game, he can get you there. And then, Nikola Vucevic and Andre Drummond at the top are the most obvious plays. 30 minutes for Nikola Vucevic last time, 47 DraftKings points, 8,700, and Andre Drummond, same thing. I just think these guys are priced pretty appropriately for their roles. So, Washington at Philadelphia. Russell Westbrook at the top, 10-2. This game right now comes in with a 231 over-under. 6.5 point favorites are the Philadelphia 76ers. And as far as Westbrook's concerned, let's see. I don't know last time he played was on the 3rd, so we should be good to go. He's been getting rested on back-to-backs, but he's had some rest as is. I would think he's good to go. That was on the 3rd. Bradley Beal's still priced down here at 9K. So I would expect both of these guys to be in the game. And Russell Westbrook, as mentioned in my previous videos, is an absolute triple-double beast now that he's back on this Washington team. He's out of Houston. We're starting to see some more old Russell Westbrook tendencies, some getting rebounds, getting assists, getting points, kind of triple-double chasing, some people would call it, but regardless, the stats are there. We play fantasy sports. That's what we're here for. Russell Westbrook makes a lot of sense at 10-2 if you're paying up at guard. Joel Embiid on the cheap, not on the cheap end, in a good matchup, taking on the Washington Wizards, and he's a little cheaper than Russell Westbrook, I should say, and this guy has a ton of upside in this matchup. I have a feeling I'm going to have a ton of interest in Joel Embiid. I don't think the Washington frontcourt can guard him. I have yet to play him this season, but in this one, he makes a lot of sense. I have a feeling I'm going to be going to him as compared to, a Andre Drummond or Nikola Vucevic that we discussed earlier. I'd rather go to Joel Embiid. Bradley Beal at 9'9" is second fiddle to Russell Westbrook in this offense. Maybe not set. I mean, they're pretty equivalent. It's just a matter of who's knocking down the shots and who's going to be fed the ball. But Bradley Beal at only 9K can absolutely stroke from behind the arc. He makes a lot of sense at a discount from Russell Westbrook. The only difference is he's at the shooting guard position strictly. So are you looking to fill your shooting guard position in with Bradley Beal? Who knows? Sorry for the yawning early in the morning. Recording this video for you guys. So Ben Simmons, 8'8". He doesn't really, he's kind of overpriced in my opinion, so I wouldn't be looking to go there. Outside of the matchup, though, at 8-8, he could get you there in this one out of all matchups. It makes sense. Maybe a pivot off some of the other guys. We've continued to see his price tag decrease, so maybe some Ben Simmons would make some sense. Tobias Harris at 7-7 makes a ton of sense. He's a guy that I'm always talking about, being the discount from Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons with a ton of upside, so at 7-7, he's the next guy I'd go to. And then lastly, the only other two guys I'd be looking to play are, three guys. You can play Thomas Bryant at 6'9". It's just taking on Joel Embiid defense. I don't really know if he's necessarily going to get there in this one. And his price tag continues to climb, so probably not looking to go there. I'd probably be looking to go to Seth Curry and Danny Green lastly. Seth Curry getting around 30 minutes a game. Can absolutely struggle from behind the arc. He can definitely get you there in the mid 5K range. He has a ton of upside at that price tag. And Danny Green, same thing applies for him. At a 3.8 price tag, a very good three-point shooter. With that half-point bonus on DraftKings, he can definitely get you there. And we saw him put up 28 DraftKings points last time out at a 3.7 price tag. So a little bit of a cap on Danny Green's minutes is the only issue there, but he definitely makes some sense. It's just a matter of if there's other value that is going to get more opportunity to him. Okay, the Charlotte-Atlanta game is going to be definitely one you're going to want to have interest in. Trae Young at the top at 9-6. This game right now comes in with a 232 over-under, very fast-paced game. 6.5-point favorites are the Atlanta Hawks. And the Charlotte Hornets have been getting blown out of every game, it seems. So a game that finally is expected to stay close. I'm excited to target some guys in this one. Trae Young at 9-6. We continue to see his price tag drop. I think this could be the game, guys. I think this could be the game you can jump on Trae Young, and he finally actually gets there. He hasn't been able to quite get hot from behind the arc. He hasn't been able to quite put up that 60, 70-point performance that he's so capable of on DraftKings because of all the threes he can hit. I kind of talked about this about Steph Curry before he went up there and put up that 62-point game. You just kind of have that gut feeling like it's going to happen. It's got to happen soon. And Trae Young taking on the Charlotte team that's not very good defensively, it makes a ton of sense to happen in this one. Gordon Hayward at 7-4. Definitely would have interest in him at the forward position. When he gets the minutes, when they're not getting blown out of games, Gordon Hayward has been performing very well this year. I'm not worried about the Atlanta defense. I have a lot of interest in Gordon Hayward. I have a lot of interest in Clint Capella, John Collins. John Collins is a tough one. I honestly don't play John Collins a lot of times strictly because he's a hacker. He gets himself foul trouble like every game. If you look down the list, 3, 3, 3, 4, 5, 4, 4, he's in foul trouble like every game. So, does he have the upside? Yeah, I mean, he's put up 48 DraftKings points against Brooklyn. He can definitely do it. He's a good fantasy producer. He just likes to hack everyone that drives to the lane, and I don't really want to be every night tilting whether my guy's in foul trouble or not, so I don't really play a lot of John Collins. Clint Capella makes a lot more sense to me. Playing around 30 minutes a game at 6'7", he can definitely get you 40-plus DraftKings points against the Charlotte front court. Terry Rozier, LaMelo Ball, and Devontae Graham are all kind of priced in the 6K range, and they're all kind of digging into one of each other. Honestly, at this point, I do prefer LaMelo Ball. He comes off the bench every single game and just performs. He's put up 44, 31, 37 DraftKings points. The only issue I have with LaMelo is that he was priced around 5.5, and now he's up to 6K. But honestly, in this game environment, this fast-paced game, it suits his game so well. I'm definitely going to be having some more interest in LaMelo Ball. Cam Reddish, Kevin Huerter are interesting options down here because there is no Danilo Gallinari. I'd expect them to continue to get big minutes. Cam Reddish is priced at 4.9. And he can definitely get you there. He's been struggling the last 2 times out, but same rule applies to Kevin Huerter at 4.5. Rajon Rondo, we did see come back, but now it looks like he's out again, so that just makes me feel more confident in playing guys like that, and those are the guys I'd be interested in this game. Boston at Miami. At the top, we got Jason Tatum at 9K after going absolutely off last game. A 217.5 over-under in this one. Be interesting to see if Marcus Smart's back in this one. Marcus Smart being out gave a lot of usage to Jason Tatum, a lot of usage to Jaylen Brown. He's considered questionable. If he's out again, play all the Jason Tatum, play all the Jaylen Brown, and then you got Peyton Pritchard here at 4.6, who got a big price bump. And he was 3.7 last time out. He put up 37 DraftKings points. That game did turn into, a bit of a blowout for a while there, and I think he got more run than he may have. But regardless, he's the guy that's going to get the bump if there is no Marcus Smart. And then Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown comes in at 8.1. He's priced much more appropriately than he was early on in the season, but he's got literally 50-point upside. And Jason Tatum at 9K. They priced him right back up real quick after that big game last time out. He's only priced in the mid 8K range. So at 9K with this slower pace game and a pretty good defensive team in Miami, is Jason Tatum worth it? I don't know. I'd feel much more comfortable going there if there is no Marcus Smart, so I'd keep an eye on that one. And Jimmy Butler would be my favorite option on the Miami side for sure. Jimmy Butler is a guy you want to target in close games. Honestly, Jimmy Butler, I would rather target him in a difficult matchup than a good matchup, which sounds really stupid with most players, but it's just true. This guy's a big game performer. He comes out for big games. He's not going to go out there and try to go off against, not to pick on any teams around the league, but the Wizards or any team that's not really a real competitor, any team he's not worried about facing in the playoffs. He doesn't really show up for those games. He wants to show up for the big time games, and this is the big time game. He's been back now for a couple games, 27, 26 minutes. I'd expect him to get up there in minutes in this one, taking on this Boston Celtics team. I think Jimmy Butler 7-3 makes a lot of sense, and I'm going to have a lot of interest in Jimmy Butler in this one. Moving further along, Utah at New York. Julius Randle at the top. This guy has been absolutely beasting and feasting from a fantasy point aspect this year. 214 over under, 6.5 point spread in favor of the Utah Jazz. Unfortunately, the Utah Jazz is they are a pretty good defensive team, regardless of what we saw last night with Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets just absolutely tearing them up in the first half. I'd expect them to bounce back in this one. Julius Randle at 9.5. He's definitely my favorite option, but he's priced up at 9.5, and he gets to take on the front court of guys like Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, a very good defender, so this might be a game where I'm looking to fade Julius Randle finally. I haven't faded him all year long, really. I've been interested in him every single time out. But if you're looking at his price tag, 8.2, 8.8, 9.1, 9K, now it's up to 9.5, and he gets one of the worst matchups he's gotten so far. So I don't think I'm looking to play Julius Randle based on the price tag on this one. I think I'm going to have to fade him. RJ Barrett makes a lot more sense at 7K. He's getting all the usage as well. It's really all RJ Barrett. It's all Julius Randle. These guys are each getting like 40 minutes a game, both getting a ton of shots. I would prefer RJ Barrett because of the price discount, so he'd be the guy I'm looking to on the New York side. And then Alec Burks. I hope Alec Burks is back. I hope they say he's good to go. I hope he's healthy and there's not a minutes limit because this guy was absolutely tearing it up and at 5'3". Taking on the Utah Jazz, a little bit of a revenge narrative here, his former team. I would have, a lot of interest in Alec Burks, a very good shooter, 4 for 5, 4 for 6, 2 for 4 from behind the arc, 36, 38, and 28, 9 DraftKings points. He was priced at like 5'6", 5'4". He's down to 5'3". I really hope he's back on this one because I'd have a ton of interest in him. And as far as, the rest of the game, it's really just Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, both good matchups. The problem with this Utah team is they're all priced appropriately and they're all just digging into each other's usage. So you got Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert, and Donovan Mitchell, but they're all kind of priced appropriately for their roles. And so I'm not really trying to go there. I would try to go to an underpriced guy like a Joe Ingles, maybe at 4.8, who I continue to mention because he does have upside at that price tag. He's just not getting a lot of minutes, 23 minutes. So Utah team's kind of a tough one to crack. I think there's going to be some better options. If I'm going to one guy, it's probably Bojan Bogdanovic at 5'9", who we've seen can absolutely struggle from behind the arc, but he's an absolute hit or miss. He went 6 for 7 and put up 38 DraftKings points. The next game he goes and puts up 9 DraftKings points, and he's consistently playing 30 minutes. So it's either he gets hot and they feed him the ball, or they just don't even pass it to him. So I think there's going to be some better options as we go along the slate here. Detroit at Milwaukee. Giannis Antetokounmpo at the top at 10-9. Once again, Detroit and Milwaukee playing. It seems like they've played 1,000 times already this season. 13.5 point spread in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. It seems like a repetitive tale in this one. Giannis at 10-9. Could he get you there? Maybe, but I think he's overpriced. We're going to need some value plays. Last time out against Detroit, he put up 61 DraftKings points. That's great and all, but you're paying 10-9 for him when you could pay, I don't know, let's look at all the players on the slate. We got Russell Westbrook at 10-2, and Russell Westbrook's in a game that's not expected to blow out. So do I think that Russell Westbrook can realistically very easily put up 60 and match Giannis Antetokounmpo at a cheaper price tag? Yes, I do. So that's, I wouldn't be playing Giannis just because of the blowout. It sucks, but Giannis is arguably the best fantasy basketball player in the league, and I wouldn't be playing him. So it's just the situation we're faced with. Blake Griffin is expected to be back in this one at 6'5". So if he's a full go, I would definitely have interest in him. And same rule applies for Derrick Rose. These are the main two guys that are going to be interested on this team. The other ones get all the usage. D-Rose put up 41 DraftKings points against his team last time out. Didn't get his price tag adjusted at all. Still at 5'8", he makes a lot of sense as a play. Dante DiVincenzo at 5'1", and Bobby Portis are my two favorite guys as far as this game turning into a blowout. Dante DiVincenzo put up 30 DraftKings points last time out. 30 minutes, I think that he makes sense. Bobby Portis, same thing. If this game turns into a blowout, 5K. Both very good fantasy point producers. They just need those minutes. Pat Connaughton's questionable. That would give a little bit more of a bump to a guy like a Dante DiVincenzo. And then Josh Jackson is questionable as well on the Detroit side. So, got to keep an eye on him. If he's out, that's going to continue to give a slight bump to guys like a Jeremiah Grant, like a Sadiq Bey, who disappointed last time out, but he's played 30 minutes. He put 32 DraftKings points that one time against Boston when he got the minutes. I think he's an interesting value play, just kind of hit or miss. And then Svi Mikhailuk, I definitely would have interest in him as well. 26 DraftKings points last time out, 3-5 out of value play. But I'm really playing the blowout narrative in this one. I'm playing the blowout guys, the guys that are going to get the run, down here, like a Wayne Ellington, like a DJ Augustine. If I'm needing to fill in my lineup with guys that are cheaper, Wayne Ellington put up 24 DraftKings points last time out at 3K. Now he's 3-3. Makes a lot of sense as a lineup filler in a game that's expected to blow out, throwing in guys like that. New Orleans at OKC, 8,400 is Brandon Ingram. Right now, this game comes in with a 213 over-under. 8.5-point favorites are the New Orleans Pelicans, and honestly, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. I think it's kind of a waste of our time. I'm not trying to go to anyone in this game. This game's going to be so slowly paced compared to others on the slate. I mean, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, they're guys that are getting all the usage on their side. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 7-3 on the other side makes sense, but I'm not really trying to go to this game. Darius Bazley continues to see his role expand on this team. He put up 35 DraftKings points last time out, 41 DraftKings points the time before. If I'm promoting one guy in this game, honestly, he'd probably make the most sense based on his price and based on his role increasing with the squad, but they've also been involved in some pretty hefty blowouts, so tough to know if that's going to help or hurt him if it's a close game. But this game could turn into a blowout as well. So, yeah, I'd be looking at Josh Hart and Dort as my last two options if this game does turn into a blowout. 28 minutes last time for Josh Hart. He could put up, 35 DraftKings points plus. Same thing for Dort at 4-7. If you're playing the blowout run, but they're really just salary fillers, not really guys we're looking to go to. And I'm sure there might be some injury news that opens up better value. Toronto at Phoenix. Fred VanVleet at the top at 7-9. This guy has been absolutely killing it this year. 217 over-under. Once again, a slower-paced game, so not exactly the most interest. But these price tags aren't quite as appropriate as the ones we've been discussing all along the slate. So Fred VanVleet at 7-9. Not a guy that's going to grab a lot of people's attention, playing Fred VanVleet at 7-9. But look at this guy's game logs. 47, 50, and 55 DraftKings points. And now he gets to take on a Phoenix team who is pretty good defensively, honestly. But in a sloppy game where he's really good for some steals and some blocks, he might make some sense. But tough saying. Devin Booker at 7-9 has been absolutely dreadful from a fantasy point aspect. He put up 42 DraftKings points last time out, but in a game that's expected to be close, I could see him getting a lot of shots and finally getting there. So he's an interesting tournament play. Pascal Siakam at 7-5, I do think is a little underpriced. This guy's got 50-point fantasy point upside, so he'd probably be my favorite option that we've discussed so far in this game. And then Chris Paul at 7K would be my favorite option on the other side based on price tag because he's the point guard. He's involved in all the plays. He's got 50-point DK points upside for sure. So he'd be who I'm looking to on that side. And then anyone else, not really trying to go to. You could play an OG Anunoby. You could play Mikal Bridges, but these guys are kind of hit or miss in their offense. So not really trying to go there all too much. And then Chris Boucher, the last guy, if he's able to get some minutes, he always has a ton of upside. It's just a matter of if he gets the minutes. And a little unpredictable, honestly, as far as his minutes rotation on this team. It's tough saying. If he gets the minutes, he'll get you there really easily because he's a fantasy point per minute beast. But will he get the minutes? It's hard saying. Two more games in this one. Los Angeles Clippers at the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry at the top at 9-8. This game is expected to be a close one, so I would definitely have some interest in Steph Curry if the spread remains what it is. 5-point spread. And we all know, if this game's going to stay close, it's going to be Steph carrying the majority of the load for this ball club. 75 DraftKings points the time out before, 54 DraftKings points last time out. I think he's finally starting to get into his rhythm. I think we could finally start to see some big games from him. The only problem is he was priced down at 9.3, and that's why I was really high on him. Now he's 9.8. Of course, I'm still high on him, but he's got to really get you there. Paul George is questionable after missing last night's game. I got a feeling that Paul George is definitely going to be good to go in this one. They got him a rest last time out. I would see maybe if Kawhi Leonard's resting, but tough to speculate there as far as where that's going to go. But those two guys I have a ton of interest in games where it's expected to stay close. I'm going to continue to say it. Them priced like at low 9K range. They have the same upside as some guys that are priced up at 10K oftentimes. So I have some interest in them. And then as far as anyone else on this team, I'm not really looking to go to anyone else in this game, honestly. Maybe an Andrew Wiggins at 6'7", maybe a Serge Ibaka at 5'7", but I think there's better options that we've discussed throughout the slate. So not really looking to go to any of them unless we find out that Paul George is out again, Kawhi Leonard. I played with Nicholas Batum last night, as mentioned earlier in the video. He put up 40 DraftKings points at 36 minutes because of no Paul George. He was more involved. If there's no Paul George, no Kawhi Leonard, then we can start talking. But until then, this game's pretty simple. You're really just playing the studs. Chicago at Sacramento. Last game on the slate. Zach LaVine comes in at 8-3. This game right now has a 231 over-under. 7-point favorites are the Sacramento Kings. And Zach LaVine at the top at 8-3 makes a lot of sense. He's been the number one option in this offense all year long, consistently getting around 40 minutes, consistently putting up 40 DraftKings points plus. He put up 59 DraftKings points that time against Dallas in an up-tempo game where they're expected to, really need his services to stay in the game based on the spread. I really like Zach LaVine. De'Aaron Fox at 8-2. I'm honestly not. It's tough. He could put up 50 DraftKings points, but the problem is he's priced at 8-2, and the way Luke Walton coaches his team, the way he's getting minutes right now, he's only getting like around low 30s in minutes. So could he get you there? Yeah, but are there other options that probably will do better based on their price tags? Yeah. Like a Kobe White, like a Buddy Hield in the same game. These guys are priced in the mid-6K range, and they have about the same upside as him. So I'd be looking to go to these guys. Kobe White and Zach LaVine, the most obvious plays on the Chicago side. Buddy Hield, 6'6", makes some sense. He's playing around 40 minutes a game typically. Only got 30 minutes last time out, but that was because of the blowout against Golden State. If he gets hot from three, he could definitely have a huge game at 6'6". Harrison Barnes, Rashawn Holmes, the other guys that are getting consistent minutes, and that's about it from this King side. 33, 30, 40 DraftKings points for Harrison Barnes. At 6'1", he's priced pretty appropriately. He was priced down in the 5K range. I'm not really looking to go there at his price tag anymore. Rashawn Holmes, who the heck knows through the center rotation. We finally saw Hassan Whiteside get some minutes last time out. Hassan Whiteside doesn't seem happy ever, wherever he goes. I was looking for a big breakout year from Hassan Whiteside. I guess he's still moping around in Sacramento, and they're not looking to play a lot of minutes. So that's really all from this game. I'd be looking to Zach LaVine mainly, Kobe White mainly, Buddy Hield. And yeah, that's my overall breakdown of this 11-game slate. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my lock of the night. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be Joel Embiid in this game. A 231 over-under. Philadelphia taking on Washington. The Washington front court cannot slow down Joel Embiid. A guy in a 6.5-point spread game where it's expected to stay close can just absolutely go off. We've seen this guy literally be a 2 fantasy point per minute producer when he's on. He can shoot it from behind the arc. He can pass out of the post. He's going to get you blocks. He's going to get you steal. He's going to get you buckets. I really like this matchup against Charlotte. In Charlotte, the only problem is they've been getting blown out. But with the spread, I like to rely on Vegas. They're good at what they do. This game's expected to stay close. Taking on this same Charlotte team the last few times out, Joel Embiid's been capped to about mid-40s in DraftKings points. With this game expected to stay close at a 9 price tag, I think we could see Joel Embiid easily put up 60 DraftKings points in this one. I really love the spot from him at a 9.9 price tag. And there is no doubt that Joel Embiid is my lock of the night. So there you have it. Joel Embiid, get him in your lineups. That's all from me for this 11-game NBA DFS slate breakdown. If you enjoyed the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. I wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.